Nen tamje je changcho chodo do je me golong ge saldamne nen saronang.
Let's spend a moment generating a wish to attain enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, forming this resolve set towards awakening known as bodhicitta. And then in that spirit, please listen to the teachings.
So dene nga zo chumden de je sungbe ne ka parbe kongden ngoden tongni je remba je da pe de ngondo je remba je namba ni yubi na ne tanda nga zo ngoden tongni je rembe korla ke je shege yu.
As for the topic of the teachings, we're discussing the teachings pertaining to the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, the senselessness of phenomena, and there we have two approaches taking in that turning of the wheel. The first one, where the teachings on emptiness are given in the most explicit, direct manner, and another approach where it's rather explained in terms of how we can understand emptiness by means of examples and gradually. Among these two approaches, we are concerned with the first one, direct exposition on the teachings on emptiness or shunyata.
ngoden tongni je remba de tenla pab yongdu rebe gone tenla pab da jada menga je gone tenla pab da ni yu bale tanda nga zo rebe gone tenla pab shin ba yamare ta rebe tenla pab yongdu ene reba namba mangba yore de sulan du suna reba namba nga nanglo du do do wa tinane ta khazang nga zo nyama khaje ringla reba tangbo gyula je ba toje same den zen ji bola ge je she bare tadi langma tos laba den tana kala shugi.
The teachings on the direct meaning of emptiness also can be approached in terms of the analytical meditation or teachings that explains the reasonings, logical arguments of resolving emptiness, or following simply the pith instructions of one's guru, one's master. So among these two approaches of directly revealing the meaning of emptiness, we're concerned with the first one, that is to say the analytical approach. There, although there are great number of logical arguments by means of which we can resolve emptiness, all of them can be summarized under the five, or rather, we are concerned with the ones that summarized under the five, and among those, in the last few days, we have been discussing the first, that is the investigation of the cause, known as the diamond splinters argument. And we will continue where we have left off yesterday.
Ninda tanda nga zo jewa memba tenla pab ge yoba yinzang ane lodrub je kare sungla se du kanshi jenle jeba te ma je tela jewe rangshi yue ma yin song sha re che du je je chue tam je rangshin korang ge yongyan rao da gyume jeme le je sha ba che da gyu ma yin ba je le jeba de ne je gyune nang ge yue ma re je gogo ne je je yin gyu na jen shen la tue gogo yoro wa gyujin la tue sabun jo la korang rangon na chuba je nye tuku yo ma re korang ngobo de chub gogo yo ba ina chub je je gyujin shen la ra le do gyujin denzo yang ane ko chub gogo na yang gyujin shen la ra le yo ba indu an pa 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 se song na an chue tam je ane chik la tena chik chungwa am chik la tena chik ane tak pa sam je sha rogo yo du ane jen je na wa sana mi do gyujin len chungwa tam je ane ngo rangshin la samdana ane kyawa khara minye ba kyawa minye sona ane kyawa dil teni chung chakpa je ngakpa ya nye tuku yo ma re wana kangshe jinle kyeba san ludu kyorangi tsikdi kyeba san tanya bechu tangi dowa de kante re se re lamna nga zu zindangi kye se tu sana kyawa korang rangon na choba am tenpa choba je nga zu dine sung chogo yo re ne ludu ji 세 용도 자나 개와 담제 밀람 나신 gyuma nashi rangshin tenpa drupa kaya meba don tamba la drupa tamchi dan dralwa tanya la tene nang tsam o tene sik nang yore o tene la nga zonga kogo yu ma re
Khenpo la tsikche di penke chik sunru na.
kangshik jen le je ba de ma je de la je we rangshin yu ma yin sa
Di uma tsavashirap nala sunru nas. So in the root verses of the middle way, the Madhyamika Karikas, Nagarjuna said that arises based on something else does not really truly arise, does not originate. Right? That is to say that everything that originates based on causes and conditions in itself lacks a truly existent core or essence. Right? It relies on external causes, conditions. Those causes, conditions, in their turn, rely on other causes, conditions, and circumstances. Right? And so, in that way, the phenomena lack this kind of truly existent nature that established in and of itself, right? Independent nature, right? Because everything arises based on causes, conditions. And when we say everything arises based on causes, conditions, we mean it's just arises in a manner of mental imputation. Because if we search, if we analyze, we can't find any truly existent origination. That production doesn't really take place. It's just our own imputation. And since there is no origination, there's also no cessation of phenomena. Because for them to come out of existence, they need to, first of all, right, to come into existence. And yet we do use this term birth, origination, right? We say things arise, things happen. Right? So is that wrong? What's wrong with that? Well, the answer is that it depends what we put into those words. Most of us, as ordinary beings, when we say this happens, this originates, this birth, we mean there's a really truly existent, true and real birth and origination and production. When Nagarjuna says everything arises based on causes, conditions, for him, this production, origination is nothing but an illusion, a dream, right? A magical display. Ultimately, all phenomena, they are free of all mental complexities, mental elaborations, and yet relatively this is in the manner of mere phenomena. They do arise interdependently, but again, interdependently means without having any true existence, the one that we ascribe to phenomena, and that's where the problems start.
dende yindu ne kazang azo nyama kaje jereng de la ngoba tagla je gu da shen le je gu o de je ba da wa re tagla je son na ane kyo thön me ba da to ba me ba an chang do shen le je son na ane kun le kun je wa dang ane na wa le momba le na wa je wa la so ba dene ajang dal do san dene ko la ke je she ba re ane de je la ta yang khaje je ge dene deng ro wa je den ye na wa de zo ngam bo ta ji du je den je ba bo je kwe sha ba den yang ma re ta ji du ani gyo dan jo ta de ba den yang ma re ni ga yong jo re ani den zo je ga ri she ge re se du ani nga zo kang sa la zo ba mi dan je den de tang bo la dang je den ko ba bo je ge tun sha ba m sue sha re dene yun jang ma jang de ngo bo khorang la ra le ge re 당물 하이 미소라 아니 미 코랑 대화 동안 단념 강념만 용데 코랑 레라라 레게 제두 제된 제법어양 클렌제 아니 렌제지 남자당 안 규당 저군이 로가 임바 된대양 클렌제 받으네양 시간제 연구래 아니 다 딜라 아니 레 견다인 제레범에서 사와당 가가지 아니 셰거요 말에 송당 거 요래 아니 딜라네 가장 달레 제비제레바 용조제다 현재 켈렌제레바 용조 내가 딜라 당송나 레바 다가는 튜로 그래서 어디네 송난 것도
In the last few days, we have looked at the production and the refutation of production from self and from other. We have shown that the production of self entails some unwanted consequences, untenable consequences, such as such production is basically useless, pointless in the first place, and it also would become endless. It is that also fault with the self production. And the other production entails a complete absurd consequence of anything being able to arise from anything, like darkness coming from light, light coming from darkness, right? Also completely untenable. Now, there are other beings that believe that actually it's both. Things are created by an almighty God in the first place, and then also so it's from right from a God, and also then once they're created, like for example God created humans, and then it's up to the humans to create further phenomena, meaning all the experiences then of suffering, happiness of those humans depend on their own actions. That's to say karma. So there are beings followers of such philosophy where they accept an almighty God, the creator, and also karma, cause and effect. Basically, in this way, they believe in the production from both self and other. And here, there is no need to employ new types of reasonings to refute that position, because, right, those who assert production from both self and other, basically they carry the faults mentioned in both the earlier positions. When we refuted production of self and production of other, now we can take those arguments and reuse them here. So there's no need for new types of reasonings.
that 조도 뭐양 가시 지기 가리시 그래서 다 규밀에 잡아 어디는 저 송도 그래 아니 저 등소 강보 아니 가르서 그래 교연 루비오 말에 建양 루비오 말에 자왕아마나 제마양 켈렌지게메 아니 고라 랑신지 중화래 배잖아 세마 리우든도 수유서바래 고랑고랑 중화로 와 살만 넘보 중용도 수유서바래 고랑고랑 중화로 와니 죽주든도 야는 말아 바비용 거 요래 마도 많이 야를 죽으면 데 고랑 랑신저도 와 아니 된전 랑신전에 두제지 초담저 아니 교치가 된 된들라 뜨고 요 말에 고랑고랑 중용 그래 규면 때문에 중발에서 된대지양 시간제 연구요래
And then there are other philosophers who believe in production without cause. They say that everything arises just randomly without really any specific causes and conditions. So those proponents don't accept past and future lives, karma, cause and result, right? They just say everything comes because of their own type of nature. Like there's no one or nothing has created the roundness of a pea, right? It's just round by itself. No one made it so. No one made the thorns sharp, right? The sharpness is just established by its own nature. No one made the waterfall fall down, or downstreams and not upstream. So that's just how it is, they say randomly, like it's that's it is. It's not really counted on any specific causes or conditions. In this way, we actually call that view a belief in production without a cause. Yes, right?
단딜라 약보 삼로 단나 그런 귤에 깨바데 그런 켈레는 바차로 그래. 랑신지 깨그래 송 셰그로 와고 남베 랑신데 가르래. 다른 규인 바차로 그래. 아니 매 랑신데 가르래 사월에 서로 와. 추 랑신데 가르래 람나 럼바레 서로 와. 아니 사와디 가원의 중으로면 그런 영원이래 중으로서 콘서트네 셰그래. ngōni kōrāng kār mē rāngshīn rāng lē tātē bā mē bā rē mē gyū yāng dīla kā kā jī nyē kōyā kā yō mā rē chā sāng rāngshīn shē bā sām jī nī kā rā sū rē tōndu gyū kēlēn chē kī yō bā dī tā rāng chā rō yō rē chīk jē chīk tā kōrāng kī chūp tā dī ngō bā rāngshīn dēndē rē dēndē mā yīn bā dī kōrāng tāk chē tāng chē bā chē 딘데진 하고 바래당 고랑신지 시야송선다 콜라 제와나 여러와 은고 당제당 제바 제 롭중 멍버 장내 시야송나 어 당제당 와다 제바 제바도 롭중 제바 다른 규로와 근데 하고 바 다른 저래 되요래 고랑 진 메세진 로다나 삼만다나야 균제 여바데 켈렌 체르고 요래 아니 장내 시계래다 마장내 시계래 아니 내가 내라 소바 땀내 깨그래나 마담내 깨그래 아니 저우지 깨고는 추당 르당 최당 남셰된 줄을 뛰네 아니 저우지 깨그래나 마드네 깨그래 어 된종원에 삼마당 와sam지 아니 류제제 최상마 교진을 뛰어 그거 바디 다랑 게 줍도 그래
To address those types of beliefs, we basically ask them, isn't that your belief that everything arises just so by its own nature is already accounted for a cause? That nature that you claim to be, the responsible factor for origination is the cause. Let's say the nature of fire is heat, the nature of water is moisture, fluidity. Right? There is no other cause for the heat of the fire. It's just, you say it's just so by itself. No one made it so. It's nature, you say. Well, we answer to you that to say it is its nature is the cause. For example, if someone studied some treatises, reflected on them, analyzed, and at the end got to some kind of understanding, clarity, right? Well, we say that, oh, I got it, I understood it, by nature, now I know. But that knowledge didn't happen without prior analysis, investigation, study. So this analysis is the cause, understanding is the result, right? Those philosophers believe that it's just so, it's just by its nature, right? That just happened this way. But in reality, if you just look a little bit under the surface, you can see that they also have to accept causes and conditions. Did you get to know something without studying or by studying? Do the rice sprouts, barley sprouts happen by planting the seeds, the rice seed and barley seed, or without planting the seed? Like, what would those proponents of production without cause say? Of course, who can ever count that the rice sprouts will just happen to grow by themselves? No, there's a multiple causes, conditions, the need for seeds, for good weather, to water it, to use fertilizer, right? So those are already causes and conditions that you deny, but you say so, but actually at the end you do believe in the causes and conditions.
Ni dende she yung de dende chubda mawa namnya kare she kare se de danda nang shimba nang yue shimba ko dinzo yue mare gyujin la tue koke me sa nga zo dende she ke me la yu so bare lu yu so bare jikden koba bo shi so yu bare san dende nga zo kelen che ke me la kewa di ji chawa chen ne kewa chen ma la nyong do kore kewa ngoma la tene kewa di la ndew nyong kore se den o dinzo nga zo kelen che ke me ne tarba yore tamji kenba yore se den zo nga zo kelen che ke me ma do ba di na wa dinzo gyujin la tue koke me sa o dende je yang ka she je ke dende she kere 다 dine she yung du lu rub la so ba nam ji dine la dang lu dang dine jiden ko ba ba ji ge so sha ba de kele me cha ba den da da nyam re ina yang da gewa ngam ji kelen je ma ja dine kya bar cha ro yo re da gewa ngam ji du be re ba mang bu jo sung yo re de da parol be di ta da kelen je ma ja dine den den na yo ma re so re ba zo de sem she yung do wa 다 단다 하고근지 가시기 닝기 뇌바래 세컨도당 가시 레베 뇌바래 세컨도당 아니 망바질레 연구열에 아니 달로로 블라소 바 산제 반남지 셈 세컨디 레바당 레바야 마레라 닝야 마레 레바당 셈다 류단 제와 메바야 마레 제와 요레 아니 딘조지 규진라 딘 셈제 자와자당 제발 텐데 연구열에 다 셈 거랑디 아니 다 계정 감지 살고 그래 셈디 뱀벌에 깨봐 말해 셈이 뇌바든서 뱀벌에 깬제 저거 요래 거랑 이제 도모 많이 비중 엄마데 아니 셰바 아닌 거 그래서 디 셰방 엄마데 가와 중에 양 셰바 디 셰방 엄마데 내 제용도 아니 셰바를 깨봐 중인데 깨왕 엄마 양 줍도 그래 깨와 침마 양 줍도 그래서 나를 봐 나가 가시 셰 요래 내가 쪼지 아니 대송래 리바 찍디 아주 미기 속라 통 속든도 통용도 통화다 미 셰바지 하고 아니데 다 현지 미방에 봐서도 아니라 하고 두냠도 나오지 샤령도 와서 돈 뭐말라 삼노도나 치 나오는데 셰바니데 로로래 아니 로가 이나양 셰베지 율디 난 저거도 와 망에데 가리를 나와서 셰바 남주 공간당 고조 요도네 가시지 다 가시지 소 가시지 딜라서 봐네 거랑거랑 로지 멘도 용도도 자자 셰바 요바데 윤두브레 아니 셰바데 다 가원에 중으로서는 계정가만나 셰마 요바 룸네 아니 청가지 요바 두브레 아니 다데 망보지 데레바다는 켈렌 제가 중으로라 망보지 데네 켈렌 메제가 중으로 이나다 그래서래 발된 최제 나바당 근지 시와서 이 중대서 나라 아니 줍지지를 보고 된서 손나요래
And then there are a lot of other believers, or actually non-believers in this case, who say that, well, actually there's no creator, there's no God. We don't, right? We're not religious in that sense, and we also don't believe in karma, cause and effect, past and future lives. Basically, not really believing in freedom from suffering or enlightenment, right? Kind of nihilists, just kind of not really believing in any of those philosophies. To that, Nagarjuna will say, okay, he agrees with these non-believers that there is no God, Almighty Creator, right? This is the same. But when it comes to past and future lives, here Nagarjuna and other Buddhists will not really agree with these nihilists who just deny everything altogether, right? Because for Buddhists, there is the continuity of the mind. Past and future life, of course, it's not about the transference of some kind of body of the matter, but it's all about the mind. Now, these days, of course, also people question what is consciousness, right? Some say It's something that dwells in the heart organ, heart. Some say it's in the brain, right? For Buddhists, it's neither of those two. Of course, mind, consciousness is connected, has a relationship with the brain and heart, but it's not there. And for Buddhists, it does not originate from the matter, such as brain or heart. This is very important because this is the main, actually, logic to assert, to prove the existence of consciousness that goes from past life to present and into future. The fact that it cannot be born from any material substance, and so it can only be born from mind, right? Mind can only be produced by other moment of mind, and that means that the mind of the first moment in this life, there's no other way around, but it has to be produced by previous moment of mind. Otherwise, it cannot come from out nowhere or from the matter. So there must be a previous moment of mind that stands for the past lives, and so same for the future life, right? And this is actually the main logic, and very short, how the Buddhists talk about the past and future lives. And of course, there is also other, like the one that when we experience, see, and understand right away the forms, images in front of us, or hear the sounds, smell, texture, like seeing the form and knowing, okay, this is a butter lamp. What is that cognizant quality of knowing, right, that arises right there with the visual image together? Don't just see, right, that this experiencer. So we can talk about the mind in this way. This is how also Chandrakirti and Shantideva Madhyamika scholars talked about the past and future lives and the consciousness.
So, da denzo de ni kula joba toje same tenze segere ni ta riba nyeba de deula joba yome kingo diriba adene je she yungure ta di kare she gure tanda nang shin bi chö sanamendo deje je chö denzo ene kaza ore en kiwarang she yomare de je ba chen 저 유선아니 레우든서 체디 균내가로 여바지 계기라다 균내가로 매바지 계기래 양나 균내가로 여면니가래 양나 균내가로 여면니가 그냥 말해 가르래서 나 된대 전에 내 땅지 땅나지 레병도와 딜라네 레울라 줘봐 여면 균고들을 봐서 그래 대걸로 하는 갈래슈기.
And that was for the first of the 5 logical arguments of the middle way, the investigation of the cause, the diamond splinter argument. And the second one is the investigation of the result. And the name of that is refutation of existent or non-existent production. Okay, the production, we refute the existent or non-existent production. So here, what is analyzed are the compounded conditioned phenomena, and what is resolved that they are not produced, they are unborn, unoriginated, because and how is that resolved? By examining whether it is an existent effect that arises or a non-existent one, or one that is both or neither. And so slowly we will look at the second investigation of the result.
Ni mi kachen dene tense ki yore uma rikpa mangpo tang ma tang la koba kaya sa ma re rikpa chiki digiri wa san dene samla tangen yore ta di kansa kashiya la rikpa chiki digi yore rikpa gyula choba tochi same tense chikpo la tenne chodal ki tuende tokto ba yena kola rikpa shenpa she kwaya yo mare, tang kwaya yo mare, taa chigi pen to saware. Yang kashe la gyula chubi doji sami tenzi ji pen to meba che, rewu la chuba yume kengu ji tenzi ji pen to sebare. Kashe la yang rikpa yongso, taa kaso gore, tengu ba tenda yongso gore. Di kangsa rik dhamida mangpo yosang, rikpa yang dhamida mangpo tanga shabare. Rikpa chigi tongi tenla pa minu ba mare de, taa dulja rik menda wala teni rikpa kaka song sharwa. taa di nane tanda gyula chubi ngone kasang rewu la chubi ngone samlo tang yongdu, rewu di tangpo gyu neka lo yoba chi kegi re san lamna. Teni nga so tanda duram nishu tsachi pal neka bi yobe che kangpo, tang ngoma duram nishu tang chugu tang chobje tenre kapla yoko korwa. Pugu te yang pai nekamna yoko korwa. 파디 양 매매지 내가 요거 그러와 된대 중나 되네 하장 달도 그래 아니 된대 요소나 되네 양절 깨고 벌라 김선 개조 동거요 말에 당부 여바지 깨고야 요 말와 탱만이 숨지 깨람나네 배창도 자도 요래 나도 메세들 탱지 깨그래 마도 봐 탱만이 숨 시선에 제가 말해 뭐만 여바인 벌라 다네 깨 고야 요 말에 양다 대시 용도 군족하시 가래라고 그래서 규내감나 랑신 열에대 온도 줄만 줄에서 그래. 베르나 마르메데 당번에 열에 딜라 노직지 바깝잖아. 마르메 여야 가라서 마르메도 도스 카샤서나 tin 깨와래서. 저도 규내감나 여바치네 레올에 깨와래서 어디네 알아보 열에. 디 해용도 오마바스에 가르치고 그래서나 내 저랑 깨지지 다다 차이요 말해서 마르메디 당문을 여봐 아니 같이네 마르메 깨와서 근데 저랑 빼대다 돈이데 선은 총 송고요 말해 저랑 엄마는 여봐 당 나랑서 미도질라 섬는다는 엄마는 여봐지 되네 깨와대다 마르메디니 빼다다 되게도 거야 아니 야네 깨우 너바질라라고요 깨우 너바 간서 미든조 니 가서라 나 파마나 메보든조라 때는 가서라 보당 보마다 사오삼모도 중국으로 와 니께 누바 삼라라고 요래람나 누바디 게 사분 잠로 와 코랑 마로 와 누바디 사분랑 인소나 되니 나조네 세라서 버스 칼라든데 사고 되니 대당 된서 태가 세션은 이거로 쯔고 김전 가면도 와 맞으발라 태가라는 가서 사고 말해 디니 개발차로도 와 아니 사당 추당 도든서 태가 세션은 이거로 와 될라 때네 아니 가서 그래 행동다 행동다 인도도 중도고 이래 그 된소라 께 너바 요나야 거랑 말아 와 너바 대당 저우니보데 카가 잡고 이래서 어디 내시는 그래
Here we might wonder, but isn't that enough just to cover one reasoning, the one that investigates, for example, the cause? And then for that, if we understand emptiness, why do we need to then go on and continue analysis, investigating the result? Isn't that enough to just use one type of reasoning? And to answer that possible doubt, I would say yes, for some it's enough. Whatever works, if by using one type of reasoning you come to understand, realize emptiness, the lack of true existence. 1 second. Excuse me. Then it's enough. For you it's enough. That's great. You don't need to, right, to use other reasonings if it works for you. But for others, it won't, the first type of reasoning, for example, wouldn't be enough, or it didn't help, didn't benefit them, and they might get more and come to understand more of emptiness through the second type of reasonings, right? And some will need all five because we all are different. As disciples, we have different intellects, different capacities, so we also need different types of approaches, different ways to question reality. And so let's look at the second reasoning, the one that investigates the result, where, let's say that the result is already existent, right? Because that's what we ask, whether the result is already existent or non-existent, both or neither. If it's were to be existent, the results, the phenomena that's already present right now, let's say in the 21st century, they're right here. If they arise, they are produced from already existent result, then same phenomena of 21st century should be found in the 20th century, the 19th, the 18th, right? Because they're already existent. And likewise, the child would already be present when at the time of when his father was not father yet, but was just a young man, and that young man also would be already present at the time of his own father when he was young, and so on and so forth. That's just not logical. And also, as we can see, there is absolutely no need for the existent phenomena to be produced again. Right? This is unreasonable. If it is existent, it's already exists, and it would be unnecessary for it to be produced anew, like second time, third time. Like, we are born once into this life, right? There's no need for us to be born again and again in this life, right? It's one-time event. So to this, the proponents who believe in this kind of existent results say, well, it's not what we mean. We just mean that the thing is there, like a butter lamp, but it's not evident yet. It's not actualized. It's not manifest. Let's say if I were to cover a butter lamp with a lid and you don't see it, and then I lift up the lid and here is the butter lamp. So it was already there, but now it becomes manifest. Well, actually, this kind of example doesn't really, again, account for the belief in this production of results that are already existent. It's not tenable, because is it the same butter lamp than when we lift up the lid that appears? That's the one that before, right? You understand? It's existent means it was the same. It would be exactly the same, but right, the butter lamp changes, the butter runs out. It doesn't make sense. Not tenable. It doesn't work that way, because the previous moment of butter lamp, while it was covered, hidden away under the lid, it has a capacity, power, let's say, as a cause to produce the subsequent moment of a butter lamp, the result. So in this manner, yes, as a cause to the result, but it's not the result already. Then that produces another moment of the result. It's just a cause. Otherwise, if it's not the case, then okay, yeah. Okay. So on the Khenpo, then is that it was not the case, then there will be no need to cook the rice, to prepare the rice. We can just take the grain of rice and eat it, right? Because if we think it's the same, the next subsequent moment of rice that is cooked, if it's already existent, then, well, it's already there in the first place, then there's no need to boil water, put rice in it, right? And we can just eat anything in this way. It's already all ready and existent. Why don't we eat even grain of rice? We can eat stone and other things. So you could see that this is a very problematic belief to kind of claim that there's a production of the existent results. Yes, there are things that have power, capacity to produce the next moment, like uncooked rice can be cooked, but right, they're not the same. And so this pre-existent result does not hold. This claim is not that logical.
So, nipa de rewu de gyun ne kabla tena meba je kegre salaba ina mbe bi chue ji gyu dan jen kazo zomba ina yang yoba so tuku mara sigi yore pechana namka le je jakbe medok segin de sheja kamlo drupyo marwa namke medok de drup mezang ngazo gyu dan jen changme mangpo jen zomba ina yang namke medok de drun tuku mara ta kwa yang na sa go gore yang na chu go gore yang na long go gore ta gyujin da mindala tene chung bi medo yin so na ko namge medo sha ge mare ko yang jedang medo de cha do yore de ma yin be ni namge medo de me bala yoba so to go medo wa jazang me bi chue ji ne ngar tene me bi chue ji gyujin mangbo zombala de yoba so se gen di zanen rige mare o riba niba de de so re tene riba somba de da ngar yume niga yin segandarwa ngar yoba yang re ngar meba yang re rigu tanda nangshi me choy din so che de gyu ne kabla yoba yang re meba re tanda chungare san dene samlo tanda ta tanda ta marme di chila samlo tanda rigu de ngoma yoba yang marme de ngoma yoba yang re meba re san ko ngalwa rwa yoba yin so na meba mayin go yore meba yin so na yoba mayin go yore yume ni ngalwa re 는 갈와 마르메체데 여바야 인 메바야 상 갈와 시지로 drup 저는 되게 요 말에 딱 간스나 마르메데 템바 drupa 랑고는 요 세게요와 템바 drupe 쉬 랑고는 drupa지 당번에 여바 메바 니가래 제라 제세 근데 교거랑 낭 미튼 바차도 요래 근데 시제라 저는 세게 말아와 또 요면니가 말에 선 라바르 제바이나 그리고 건조 시바데 여바야 말아 매바 말아서 다 되다 간 내가 쯤에는 시제로 지사도 요래 가야서는 나랑 조시 소소제의 기본은 낭용소나 양나 여바자 낭도거래 양나 매바자 낭도거래 여면이 가야 많이 바자 낭사 근데 요거랑 시제로 쓰고 말아와 되는 메시지 바지가네 중거래 라바르샤바이나 되네 레봉게라 중거래 세간다오다 르벌기 부 중거래 세간다오다 다 남게 매도 중거래 세간 게 지고 지장로와 또 여민이 가양 많이 바지 루거라 말아데 다 남게 매도 저 줘버래 선나데네 개박하시 지금 민데네 다샤여래 저런 게 되우데 가서 그래 되우데 규내가로 여민이가 인세간데 로바데 남게 매도래 대시자금을 선나 시그마르서 되네 손나도 와
To continue with this reasoning, well, then we might think, okay, it is something non-existent that is produced. But actually, in that case, it would be impossible to produce. Because something that is non-existent can never be brought into existence. Like a flower that grows in the sky, right? It's non-existent, and no matter how many causes and conditions assembled together, they would still never be able to produce the non-existent flower in the sky. Yes, other causes conditions like the flower seed, water, earth, sun can come together and produce a flower that grows here, but not, sorry, no, that's, Kempola, di lungda medan chu tsomne, di metok di, namkegi metok, kechegi mare, inayan
룽당 사추 좀바에는 남갈 메도 남게 메도 중도가 말해 가서 메도 좋아하는 데 남게 메도 말해 저단게 메도래 등가서 사추 룽당 사추 류당 저던 좀바에는 메도 제기도 와 디코랑 방신이 메도로 와디 남게 메도 말해 남게 메도서 그 남간에 제고 그러와 된대지 니가 말아와
namgyungi di metokchik yoresra, kegidus. the
남균 가서 매도 가와라는 통해 여러와 고사 계사 사자 열에 안콜라 추 귤추 열에 아니 류룩 열에 매도제 사변 열에 된조견 교견 좀서는 매도 제기도 와 디드 제당 매도랑 차소와
Dinazugakcha Marera.
디로 매도데 열에 이는 남칸에 매도데 다사 주매 된조라 또 매고바지 아니 남칸에 매도데 교견 셴바 가리 좀 바이나 중앙에도게 되네 제도 말아와 어디네서 나서
Clarifying with Khenpo the difference between the sky flowers and the ordinary flowers in a way that, yes, of course, the usual causes, conditions for a flower, the seed, water, fertilizer, sun, earth, all of that assembled together will produce a flower here. But something that's never been existent, such as a flower in the sky, non-existent means, well, right, never been existent, never really saw, perceived the flower of, growing in the sky. No matter how many of those causes, conditions assembled together, right, they can never produce something previously non-existent. So this, yes, previously non-existent phenomena cannot be produced. Well, what about both? It's something that's formerly non-existent, but it's made anew into something existent. Well, actually, it's not possible because existent and non-existent are mutually contradictory things, and they can never be combined. The basis of a single entity, this existent and non-existent phenomena. So does not really work with the both, right? And for the neither, well, that's just funny because things are either existent or non-existent, and there's no other third option other than these two. How can you come up with something third? Either things are there or not. And if they're there, they cannot be produced. There's no need for them to be produced. And if they're not there, well, nothing can really make them appear, like a flower in the sky, like horns of a rabbit, like feather of the turtle, and on with the classical examples from Buddhist literature. That's for this reasoning, investigation of the result.
다 단다 레바 소디 가리시거레스데 저디 규유비 당문에 중 여바지 계곡은 계곡은 말해서 아니 저데 균내감나 매바지 계결했었는데 교진 가서 좀 나야 계 누구 말해라 그래 니가 인석인데 세가 말한 갈와라 아니 교된 저내가로 여매 가야 말해라는데 시야절었잖아 미스베 얘기하자래서 어떤데 저거는 되거든.
So what's enough for us to remember about the second investigation of the result is, this reasoning works in the following way. We analyze phenomena as the results, whether they come to be while they're already existent, and that's not tenable because it's completely unreasonable, because if it's already existent, then it would be unnecessary for it to be produced anew. And also non-existent cannot be produced because, again, no matter how many hundreds of causes and conditions come together, they would still never be able to produce the non-existent horns of on the head of a rabbit, let's say. And both of those kind of being existent and non-existent at the same time is not possible because, well, those are mutually contradictory entities or phenomena. And the fourth option of neither, well, that's not something that we have ever experienced, something that's neither existent nor non-existent. Besides those two, there's no third possibility. There's a question. Can take one. Khenpo di chikyore Jagyune. What it means when Nagarjuna says everything is possible to whom emptiness is possible, doesn't it include possibility of both existent and non-existent phenomena? Oh, yeah. Ce va dire, lo drubgi ci caresum serna sulla tompa. Okay, I will find actually the quote. Just one second. The yeah, lo drubgi gala tompa ni sipa dela dönam tamchesis sumpares. Tine DJ na tine danda kempogi nika ti yop dan mepal di le mush sumpa shipa yomares di nimatok. Yana yopa, yana mepa. Ina yan tamche tompara chetsan di tamche sigere. Chikchina yopa dan mepal shenda chikyan sigeres. Tije. Kaisna tamche sigeres. Di
le lason 누르기 동니 세디 저바 탐제단 잘와 라비온데 가서 짐바 탐제len 대바 라고요래 짐바 탐제len 대바데 시다 미세게 샤가 요 말에 타니 베주당데 시 사나 라브기래 뇌마제야 명다기래 동반이야 명다기래 저절야 명다기래 다 코랑 걸어 랩선의 시 미세서는 가야 요 말에 시 미세 저절 동니 라바섬 가서 남도 쇼사르서와 춘이네로 코랑 랩드서는 남도 탐질란 대바 명디데는 저바 탐질란 자와 여바 메바 니가 니민 탐질란 대바 라고요래 하나 니민 탐질란 대바 라베 여바 메바 니가 니민 저바 대바 라고 바디 니가 마임 바다 니가 힘바지 여바 시장 아니 딜란 대바 라바레 베서나 되나 말해 디로지 징켄지 로스디요래 율 데네사나 두비야 말에 카제 니가레 카제 니민레 카제 여바레 메바라 징겐이 남도 요래 어디 남도 된자 상마 너르와레 남도 된자 상마 세고레 짐바 탐제 잘고레 세베게자레
Lasso. So to answer this question, right? Again, when the Nagarjuna says everything is possible, to whom emptiness is possible, so why can't there be phenomenon besides beyond existent, non-existent phenomena? You see, when Nagarjuna speaks of emptiness, he means there's the space where there's no grasping whatsoever. There's possible, impossible, all of that really falls apart. All of this, what we are talking about, is it possible? Is it impossible? This is emptiness. This is not. This is the mental liberation. This is freedom from mental liberations. These are just our concepts. As soon as we say emptiness, as soon as we think freedom from mental constructs, we're already not in emptiness because it's already a thought, a concept. Right? So really, in emptiness, there's no this grasping of existent, non-existent, beyond something possible, impossible. There's no even, language for that. But when we operate on this level of where we use language, right, even though from the object's point of view, something is not there but we impute this either existent, non-existent, both or neither. This is how our minds grasp. So this is within the limits of our own grasping that we say that, there's no possibility for existent, non-existent, because that's how our minds operate. And there is either existent, non-existent, both and neither. This is how it is, right? Well, in terms of emptiness, we don't even talk about existent, non-existent, or third option. There's no third option because there's nothing there. As soon as there is something, it's not emptiness. You see? So our job is then to dismantle the mind's grasping, and because how it works within that system it operates, that's what we question.
라소 소남데 남제 돈네 녜벤다나 밤제네 옌가 나제 발란도바이 세베 졸렌도와도와라슈 라소 도시체
Sani Chitsuchigi Jela Gutsugireras Kempala. Just a note for attendance, for attendees, tomorrow will start an hour later. Okay, it's also written on the screen. Perfect. Just
라소
say
아니
hello to
고소도잖아
everyone. Lasso, Sani. Thank you,
산예자요
everyone. See you tomorrow.